when's the last time you went to a big city?
What? Wait. Hang on. What is the relevance of that?
Oh my God! Somebody
being able
busted
to
his
witness
yard.
real.
I mean,
Swear.
cities are
Cities
way.
can be
Cities are
gross.
so.
Are we talking to a human being
I
right
went
now,
to-
or are you a bot? Like, what the
So
fuck?
I have a supporting narrative. I worked out of Vancouver for a while, so I went on a work trip two times actually. I got to visit Vancouver, BC. Very cool. I saw where Deadpool was filmed, so that was kind of cool. It was just a bridge, but like even in Vancouver, the places by the city where you like stop and say like, oh, this is sick as fuck actually. Like those apartments are like $3,000 a month. They're like crazy expensive. And then you go outside and you realize you either
Real
need
estate
to
in
pay,
Canada's trash anyway.
you
pay
need to pay
$3,000
$800
to
a
live in
month to
cardboard
drive,
box.
or you're gonna pay $800 for a freaking lift, or whatever. So Vancouver's like a really nice place, but like there's always these like little red flags in cities because they've been sitting there like a pile of shit for the last 300 years. No offense to city dwellers, but get hip, get square with it, kids.
Sarah, are you more a country mouse or a city mouse?
I've done both. I grew up in the city, and then I also spent my teen years out in podunk nowhere, 1.5 street lights. So I know both worlds, and I would take the country over any of the city any fucking day. Any
For sure. So
fucking
that's where your heart
day.
is, for sure.
Which is why I'm saying that.
So
let's consider this from the perspective of someone that wants to live in the city.
Okay. Oh my God. This is
Well,
just
so like, if we go out in the country, there's a lot of like.
he hasn't
Because no
heard,
one
he
wants
hasn't
to live
heard
in
a
the city. Is
fucking
that your
word
argument?
that
Dude,
anybody
is your
on this
argument that no
panel
one
has
wants
been
to live in the
saying.
city? What is your argument that zero people want to live in the city? Like,
The
what are you
only
saying?
thing that drives people to the city is some type of employment or school or some actual
culture.
reason. No,
Culture drives people to
There
cities.
is-
No, it doesn't, dude. No, it doesn't.
This is just like not.
Maybe
I
when
agree.
you
No,
shot a
it
college.
just doesn't. I don't
I
go to New
agree.
York to get New York pizza. I go to Pizza Hut to get New York
I'm
pizza.
talking about
Okay.
you do not care about city culture. We've established.
What is city culture?
I
That's what I'm
agree.
trying to ask you.
I agree.
What is city culture? What actually attracts people about
Please,
piss and shit in the streets?
Answer.
Because
Please
there's so
answer
many
if you
people.
can. Do you live anywhere near a big city, like major city?
I mean, I guess I live near DC, but I don't really go there that often. I'm not
Oh,
really a city
okay.
person either. I'm not, but I'm saying I can I can respect and
What are you
understand people that
fucking
like
talking
cities.
about? What are we
Wait, do you
talking
just-
about? Where
wait,
does
do you
this
just-
perspective come from?
Do you
Because
deny
I
the
can
existence of
empathize
Silicon
with
Valley,
someone that likes cities.
of Hollywood?
Okay. Hold on. Chat. What the hell are you doing? Click the thumbs up. It prevents breast cancer and erectile dysfunction.
Well, I don't know about
There's-
that second one. But...
There are only 41 likes. I'm very disappointed. I should just shut this bitch down right now, and then we'll never know if Ivory actually understands why people actually move to the cities or not. You guys are you're killing me, Ivory. How old are you, Ivory?
You're killing me,
I'm
Smalls.
25.
25, and you're still this dumb. You're killing me.
Hang on. I agree with
Did
you.
you
I don't want to live in
graduate
the
high
city
school
either,
with
but I recognize that
Lamborghinis
there are
and
people that
condos?
want to live in cities.
No, you either are born and raised in a city and just forget how to get out, or you go there only because a job or a school or a
Sure.
spouse brought you there for some
And with-
fucking weird
Yeah,
ass
I
When
mean,
you get
if you're in
there,
a
the
city,
real
people are
estate
going to
There
tell
are
you
way
you
more
in. You're
jobs
stuck.
in the
you're a
cities
product
than the
of
country.
Ivory, cool. You're a product
costs
of
more money to
ingenuity if you can make it in the city. Like you just have to know that you can be successful there, but it isn't going to
Ingenuity,
be this white picket fence thing that you can have.
Well, I didn't follow. Sorry.
Nobody's going there for culture. I'll tell you, if
That's
anybody
retarded.
thinks if anybody goes to, like, let's say New York City, and they're like, oh my God, I'm gonna go there and have New York City pizza and I'm gonna go to all the Broadway plays, and like their hopes and dreams are gonna be shit on within the first hour of arriving, and this is why most people turn and
Like,
run back
culture
home.
isn't just like businesses that you partake in; it's also just the people around you. If you
The
live, if you
people,
live
you
in a
ha-
place where it's hard to meet people in person, then you're not
You
participating in
can't
a culture.
even go anywhere because you
Okay.
can't fucking afford anything because you can't pay rent because you thought you were gonna get through on your hopes and dreams and realize that shitstorm left real fast.
Or the opera
I mean,
costs fucking $3,000 to attend in the first place. But here, do
I
you
mean,
know
even
anything?
just
Not-
eating
not
at
to
a
cry.
restaurant,
Not
even
to
just
cry
a
too much.
restaurant, like if you went and got breakfast at a local diner, it's $40 hands down for one person.
Easy.
One
Yeah.
person.
Easily.
One.
So, do you know anything
There
about
is no-
small towns? I mean,
there's
apparently
no
you don't know anything about
culture.
small towns either, because it's not hard to meet people in small towns. You meet people all the time in a small town.
It's hard
You
to meet
can't get
people
out
that
of
you
your
really
house without your
connect with.
neighbors
It's hard to
noticing
meet
you.
people that want to spend more time with you because they're just fewer people.
Daniel
You-
sends 10 minutes to
not
the back
tracking,
for
brother. It's
Darko
not
for
tracking.
twisting his motherfucking mustache. Ivory, you haven't lived long enough or created a family to experience sacrificing. Why not shut up and try listening to those who know?
Good advice.
Yes. As your non-mother, YouTube mother, I will tell you that there is way more in life beyond culture, and you can actually create your culture right here with your own family in good old suburbia, out in the middle of nowhere, whatever. People don't move to the cities for culture. They don't, unless you are rich and you can afford to just randomly buy houses wherever you want, and you have the safety guided behind that. Nobody's moving there for fucking culture.
Young,
Okay,
I'm not
ideological.
okay, maybe it's my bad for like using culture so broadly, but what I'm trying to say is when there are tons of people that you can engage with and interact with, and you can work together on projects, like you can organize
There's
around
tons of
something.
people who can toss you onto the fucking subway tracks. Yeah, that's
Hold
great.
on, let him say what he was saying. I think he
Yes.
was actually going to express the point concisely this time.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so if there's tons of people that you can organize around, and like you can build hobbies with, and find people that really enjoy your hobby, like it's just more likely that you're going to be able to do that. It's more likely that people's schedules are going to line up because you're all closer together, and there's less like transition costs and stuff like that, and moving around. And so that's what cities and more dense living supplies. And the issue is like, okay, do you like, it seems like you don't really care about that right now, where you are at the point that you are in your life, but I think young people care about that much more.
I think cities create artificial culture, actually. So whenever you have a city, you have more crime per capita, right? You have more people boxed in, more things, more stress, more competition, all these other things. So if you go to where what Sarah's talking about, you're going to have less of this. There's going to be more creativity. You're not going to have to funnel this culture by survival, everything else. I think more of that, when you go to that, it's artificial. And the reason why I say artificial is it's because you have everybody else that's influencing you by survival culture. I'm living beyond my means. And whenever you have that, that kills a lot of creativity. What culture are you going to have? You could say it's a melting pot, but it's literally people eating themselves up. What it is.
Well, okay,
Survival
so
of the fittest in cities.
we keep kind of skirting around this word culture, and the problem with this is that like what the argument seems to be here is the culture. Like people want to see the culture or don't want to see the culture or any of that, but culture is just like a group of people who have shared beliefs, values, traditions, social norms, things like that. So like New Yorkers all fucking hating being there is the culture. Do you really want to engage in that? No.
Show of hands,
Well,
then.
there you go. All right.
Raise your hand if you know your neighbors' names. Do you know your neighbors' names? The people that live around you, right?
Fuck you, Leslie. Fuck you, Leslie.
Damn right.
I can't really see my hand. It's all
I mow my grass when I want. Damn it! You go eat a dick.
Ivory,
Yeah,
your hand's not up. You're not raising your hand, Ivory. You don't
I don't
know
know
who
my
your neighbors
neighbors.
are.
I
How
know
much
my
is your
name.
mortgage a month?
So,
Not
so
surprised.
like,
I don't. I rent.
Oh, gotcha.
but even at that, like a culture is what you make it. You don't have
Yeah.
like you can make a culture.
Yeah.
My culture here in my neighborhood is
Wait.
leave me the fuck alone. Shut the hell
Is
up.
it not easier to
go
make a culture with
away.
more people around
I'm
you?
neighborhood watch captain.
No.
Not.
Why
It's
is that
not
not easier?
necessarily
Why
easier.
are small towns so in everybody's business? The whole
But
point
I'm not
is
talking
because
about I'm not
that
talking
is
about like
the
a group culture. I'm talking about like something specific to each individual, like having
A
people
culture
that
is-
really...
Individuals don't have culture. A culture is
Yeah, no,
is
culture
a
is-
group thing. It's an ethnic thing. It's a trickle down
there
of
are
all the things
subcultures.
that creates how people interact with one another. That's what it is.
I-
And what
There's
you're talking
individual
about is
hobby
ultimately
groups.
a lack of culture. What you're actually getting at, Ivory, is interacting with individuals. That's what you're getting at. That's what you're talking about. You're not talking about culture
Sure.
at all.
Okay,
Culture's
that's why
an
I said
entirely
maybe it was
wrong
a mistake
word for you to be
use
using
the
right now.
word
You-
culture so
Part of it is
broadly.
what they can get away with.
That's fine.
Part
If
of it
you
is
don't
what
want
they
to
can
use
get
the
away
word
with
culture that
in
way, that's
Gilbert.
fine.
In Gilbert, our small. So I'm in Arizona. I'm in an Arizona suburb, which I just doxed myself. But anyways, like
That's okay.
you know, the things we can get
We're
away
not gonna
with
come
is
find
like
you.
they can elect crazy Bible thumper school boards, take away liquor licenses and stuff like this. And they say some of it's trumped up, and then when it's trumped up, what happens? You get all these like doomsday people, elected in our districts and stuff like that. So like our relation to like one of the fastest growing cities, like big city Phoenix, is that we have a lot of modern ideas and thought, but you still have that rural aspect.
Well, Doug, I agree with you. I think that culture is relative, and also I'm doxing myself. We're probably neighbors, but on that note, I think Phoenix, as far as culture, Cleaner's right. You can have a culture of people that don't want to talk shit to you or do talk shit to you, but it just depends on where you're at. And you are right with school districts, everything like that. A culture is proximity of people and what they make of it. Now, granted, what say Ivory's talking about, we never got a full, concise definition of what culture is to him. What is your definition of culture?
Well, that's because it's a proprietary definition, and he would be speaking to something different if he's not talking.
I was speaking to something completely different. Like if we're saying like just interacting with individuals, like that's kind of what I was trying to get at too. So if we just want to talk about it in those terms, that's fine with me. So I'm sorry for like misleading people.
No, you're fine. We're just getting to the heart of what we're actually talking about here, and it was getting conflated with culture. And I understood what you were saying, and that's why I made the point of defining what culture is, because you're not. I get what you're saying. You're saying there's like 1% of people that go there because they heard like New York pizza is the best thing on the planet. They want to go there and see New York pizza and experience the New York pizzeria or something. I understand that concept, right? But that's a minor proportion of the people who live there day in and day out, generationally, their children, their children's children. They can't afford to get out of that city because they can't build up enough wealth to fucking leave. That is something that's going on there.
That is why that city is so extremely populated. It's not because it attracts so many people. It's because it traps people. It traps them. And
I don't know if that's true. Like
it's absolutely fucking true. It's true in DC.
Yeah, it's
you can see it in your own city. Walk the streets.
And there's a lot of industry. Like there's a lot of like financial industry in New York and other kinds of industry.
There are all kinds of things, right? But the problem is that the cost of living goes up like incrementally a little bit more than the amount that people are going to make every single year, no matter what. So over time, it gets to be so expensive that your kids are paying for your bills. Their kids are paying for their bills. And
but that isn't culture. That's That's basic economics 101. If you ask me, that's econ.
Wages stayed stagnant.
That's why I'm right there. I don't understand. I don't understand what you see in there's societies that are way more dysfunctional than the U.S. And more socialist, more capitalist, and there's societies that seem to function on the outside way better than ours too.
If there was 10,000 more houses and/or apartments in your community, do you think that would help with the price of rent and mortgage?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't it?
So if we had 10 million more bedrooms in New York,
I don't know.
I don't think it would. I think all that would be a prime market for somebody like BlackRock or one of the major developers. You're talking about, Fatty, to come in and sweep that shit up and turn it into a rental fucking grinder,
or build it out.
That's what would happen. Yeah. No, what needs to happen is the VA loan program that was highlighted at one point needs to be extended out towards other demographics. That kind of thing is really what needs to happen. It does. We need to
first.
We don't agree about that. We don't. I don't agree. I think we need to give veterans every leg up, but we also need veterans operating in the traditional economy in the most formal sense. Like
it's not a non-traditional loan. It's just you're more easily approved for a regular fucking mortgage that has a very low interest rate. That's all a fucking VA loan is.
No down payment. That's
the
the down payment is worked into the long term. It's just added on the back end.
Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily say that I would prescribe the VA loan for anybody who's not going to buy their house outright within the first year.
Right. That system needs to be fixed. We need to put more money into that system to make sure that vets get what they need.
Here's what we fucking need to do. We need to stop saying, give me now, and we need to start working towards saving before we buy things. That's the fucking problem.
When
the credit system kicked off in a way, buy now, pay later, we all got this sudden urge, and it's developed into such a way where, because we're such consumers, just buy, and nobody fucking saves a penny. There's so many people out there that are house poor, that are live credit card to credit card, so on and so forth, pay this, pay that, whatever, and they can't just like if you that's my rule with my daughter is, when we're like out or she's looking at something online and she really like, mom, I really want to buy this. I'm like, well, I mean, I think you should wait 3 days and come back and really let me know if you really, really want it. 3 days later, she doesn't even remember that she was fucking looking at that
What are you
shit.
talking about? What that,
right? It's that instant, oh, I need this now, and we thrive off of it. And in the reality behind it is, if you really, really want it, are you willing to save for 3 months to get it? Are you willing to save for 2 years to get it? Are you willing to work a little extra overtime or pick up a second job to get it? If you're not willing to put the work in on the front end, you're definitely not going to do the work on the back end. And you should not buy that item right then and there. You should fucking wait.
And Sarah, I also think people have to realize, like, your life is different when you say yes or no to 7% credit cards, right? Like, it's a different mindset to say, yes, I don't need to spend this. No, I don't need to spend this. Yes, I can sacrifice on my housing now. Like, there's, a good bank account a home doesn't make is all I'm saying.
I think it's more about the materialism and the idea, right? The idealistic mentality of us to be so caught up in the consumerism.
Well, of course, yeah.
One of the most alarming things that I ever learned when I was in college was in economics. The economics professor was telling me I was 27, and all of these fucking 18 and 19-year-old kids that you don't need to save anything. You need to spend. Spending is good for the economy. Spending actually helps the economy, and that's what's going to increase the value of our money and make our economy grow. Don't save a dime. Spend every fucking thing you have. And that's what these fucking assholes are teaching our fucking kids. I mean, obviously, like, oh no, New Yorkers like their culture. That's why they go to New York. Yeah. No.
I get that, EOD. I get that.
The guy telling us to spend is the guy robbing us.
And see, the thing is, like, I can tell you, all right, look, this is going to be anecdotal, but I can tell you, all right, I lived the hard fucking life. I came up from damn near nothing. I am a credit ghost. Almost completely a credit ghost. If it wasn't for my second wife, God rest her soul, I wouldn't have any credit debt in my name at all. I've already paid that shit off, but it's in the past, so I have a credit history. Aside from her, I never used credit, ever. I still don't. I got tons of money. I got no problems paying for shit. I don't have any issues that are major. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, kill your credit. There you go. I just made you richer. Kill your fucking credit. Stop using it. Save money. Throw that money in the savings account. You're going to gain interest off of it. Throw it in good investment if you want to take some risk.
It's probably a good idea to have at least one credit card with a reasonable spending limit just for emergencies. But
no, it's not.
It's
reasonable to save enough for an emergency fund in your savings account. That's what's reasonable. If you have that credit card, you will pay for having it. Eventually.
Yeah, the interest is ridiculous. It's 25%.
Yeah. But if you put that money in a savings account and you build that money up, that savings account is going to give you interest every single year.
But not as much as it could make elsewhere. Like what are like?
Hold on.
People don't understand the idea of like leveraging debt.
No. Here's the thing: you're not understanding, right? They're saying these guys have been telling our kids, go and spend money, go and do this, go and do that, and we're telling them. Right now, we're saying, no, it's much better for them to throw it in a savings account. Don't even engage in the credit system. Stay the fuck away from that completely because that's just going to drain you.
No. Okay, so if you can get a loan, if you can get a loan for something, anything, if you could get a loan, if you could get credit for literally anything at a 3% interest rate, like, should you try to pay that loan off as fast as possible, or should you?
Yeah, you should.
You don't understand economics then.
I do. I understand that over the course of a 30
you don't understand that like the average appreciation of like of index funds is like 7%, and so like if you pay off that,
if in the event you have a portfolio, let's pretend you have a portfolio, okay, Darko.
Yeah.
And real quick shout out to Josh with the big 5. Not a penny of any of my VA loan, 0% down payments have ever been added to the tail end of the loan. Yes, it is. You just didn't read the fine print. I read the fine print and I called it out to the loan officer, and he said yes, and then I said no. Let's go conventional. So let's pretend you have a portfolio and you have $100,000 in that portfolio. You're making 6 to 7% interest, like in gains on that. Okay, yes. And then you decide, all right, I want to purchase a vehicle, and I don't want to take the cash out of my portfolio because obviously the more cash you have in there, the more money you're going to make on it. But I would like to take out let's say there's a 2%, by God's grace, 2% interest loan that you can take out for the car. Yes, in that event, yes, that would actually make sense to borrow with a small 2% interest rate, because overall you're making 4% interest rate back on your $100,000 portfolio. However, what we are talking about right now are young people in their early 20s who don't have $100,000 portfolio sitting there, and they aren't able to utilize money as a tool the way somebody with that portfolio could. So in the event that these kids are just borrowing money, they're not making money off of a portfolio where that would make sense. They're just borrowing money and paying a shit ton in interest. In that event, I would rather them save, put in at the very least, put a heftier down payment down at the very least. But overall, fucking save and save towards something. That's the problem. They don't know how to build towards anything. It's just gotta happen today.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sure. So like there's a Grand Canyon in between what you just said of like, oh hey, like sometimes, like when, the interest rates are markedly, like when your money can go further doing something else, like you shouldn't rush to pay off a loan as fast as you can, like just to say that you don't owe anyone money. Which like that's what Cleaner's advocating for, is like it, like you could get a 1% interest loan and you should pay that off as soon as possible because credit is bad.
You chose to be in your feelings and take it and interpret it in a way that would match.
Can you get to the I'm sorry. How did I summarize your position that was wrong?
Completely wrong. I wasn't talking about people who have
wait. You said credit is bad, right? Like credit is bad. All credit is bad.
Credit. I said credit is
so
bad.
anything on credit is bad.
Credit debt.
Credit is bad. Credit debt is
So credit debt, so all debt is bad. You should never owe anyone money ever because that's bad.
You're strawmanning what I said. Those are not the words I use. See, I'm one of those people that actually says what the fuck they mean and uses the words that they are using because they mean to use those words. I know you're not. I literally asked you
if you should pay off a 4% interest loan as fast as you could.
Correctly.
Cool. You said you should pay off a 4% interest loan as fast as possible.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's just like, again, so like with what Sarah said of like, oh, well, if we like kind of presume like a 6 to 7%, like, like gains rate on your portfolio, like, if you have a 10-year loan, shut up, Cleaner. Right? If you have a 10-year loan at 4% interest, you shouldn't rush to pay off that loan. You should drag that loan out as long as you fucking can. Because for every dollar you're not putting it towards that loan, you're getting 6% interest. Like you're gaining 2% interest on like that dollar. Like that's literally what I asked you.
How much more money could you be putting into your portfolio after that loan is paid off?
You're putting in more money.
No more? No, I mean like
a lot more.
Like so.
No,
some people value the access to equity. Some people don't want liabilities too. There's some behavior. There's a small Darko's like mathematically right, but there is a behavioral component. And I would imagine there's some life scenario where it makes sense to not have liabilities and have less savings.
Is this like the raisin drying in the sun again? Or?
Idealistically,
it's like if
you want your money to work for you,
thank you.
If you want your money to work for you, like in a reasonable stance, you have to have it put somewhere first, right? But you can't just go taking out loans or credit cards or so on and so forth without having that portfolio that is working for you. So 100%. What Cleaner is not talking about the example I gave you. He's talking about the massive amounts of credit card debt that the average Americans carry around on their backs every day. And it's absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
because we just spend. Now, if you're talking about utilizing something like, for instance, to build into something, to develop it as an asset, not a liability, like if I wanted to go buy a house in order to turn it into a rental, obviously taking out a percentage loan in order to purchase that home and flip it, it then becomes an asset later because I'm able to tap into an equity to utilize it to make the money work for me later, right? But when we start tapping in, like, credit cards are a completely different story, and
there's no equity there.
There's nothing. You're just borrowing money because you don't want to save up before you buy something.
But don't you see, Sarah, also then
real estate is the best investment.
How debt is don't you, okay, because we are very different politically, but I adamantly believe that debt is a overly capitalistic shitty instrument for so many things. Like I believe that debt is in one sense is like, it is both the gas pedal and brakes, and we need both, but I'm just slightly leaning that it's more brakes right now.
On what?
What?
on the system of capitalism as a whole, like a lending instrument is something that takes out a person's soul, is my point.
Yet again, your drug-induced prattle has totally fucked up the panel.
Oh, my soul to the company.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that's going or what it's for. Like, I mean, we're speaking in very direct points here, Doc. We're not going into the philosophical concept behind.
Even hippie communists have to take out a loan for new.
Okay. There was a good point made in chat. Uncle Guns, one of your moderators, said, "Why pay the interest if you don't have to? Help me with this." So that was directed at Dr. Darko. I do believe. So, Dr. Darko, you're talking about taking it out a low interest loan and trying to just maintain the payments,
I'm saying if you can get a loan at a certain percentage rate that is below like the market performance rate on average, then you shouldn't try to get that loan paid off as fast as you can, because your money can go further in other places.
Okay, so why pay the interest if you don't have to, though? I mean, if you can save it, then why would you pay the interest?
Because you can get more money by not paying that interest now. Like you'll get more money later by not paying that interest now.
But if you also pay that little extra towards the principal every month, the overall amount that you're paying based on the daily interest rate that's per your principal will inevitably go down. So you'll actually, it's the amortization schedule, right? So your amortization schedule is going to work to your advantage if you are kind of plowing through the snowball effect. Once it starts rolling, it rolls pretty fast. Now, not to say you can't slow down later once you've built into the principal to where your interest charged is significantly less, right? You don't want a heavy interest, low principal. But I think overall, you should try to avoid debt at all costs, or credit lines or whatever, if you so can. Not to say you can't make your money work for you, but gaining that 2% interest rate on a daily basis per my portfolio, like as the difference between the two. If it's 6% I'm gaining and 4% I'm losing, overall I'm really losing more money in the long run, because I'm paying all of this because of the as you pay on like that loan, the amount of the actual loan, like let's say I take out a $10,000 loan, the amount of the actual loan could actually be $30,000 by the end of that interest. So would I want to pay $30,000 for something that only costs 10? Right? Just because I want to have it right now instead of waiting and building up towards it instead. So do you see what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, so
yeah.
If you
So
have
Sarah,
So
like if the absolute,
it goes in the grundle. Your financial decisions switch around the grundle.
What is Doc talking about?
Doc, are you high? Like, where are you right now?
No, I'm
He's
in my
he's
room.
fucking tripping on acid, dude.
Sarah, you made
I don't
you made
smoke
a
weed.
good point. When you take out a loan, you always pay more than the minimum payment, because that pushes your principal down, which reduces your interest. You made a good
but
point.
again, but like, if instead of paying more and like deferring, like, you know, more interest from accruing on that loan, if you could gain like a higher percentage of money by stuffing it into a different account.
Yeah, it's
like,
like
again, like,
you can
if
borrow at 2% interest to get a federal bond that is 5% interest. That's all.
Like a
That's all
or
Darko was
IRA.
saying.
I mean,
Yeah, listen, I don't necessarily disagree with what Darko's saying. The problem is that most people who are in their 20s and 30s right now do not have the capacity to do this because they either A, don't understand it, or A, don't have the finances, or, you know, it's not a
don't even have a
realistic
job.
So,
everyone in the world.
the extension of what Darko's saying is, okay, now imagine you're not buying a bond, you're investing in a business, or you are, investing your life in some capacity. You're doing something now so that you will be better off in the future.
Taking out a loan to do this investment, because we're talking about like 20-year-olds who are coming out of college with college debt already. Like what we're talking about taking out a loan, right?
I think
Like,
there might be some conflation between like materialism and debt, but I think Darko was saying that we want to be careful about decrying debt, because sometimes debt is really helpful for investing for your future.
Debt with no equity.
Listen. If you carry a credit card, a balance on your credit card from one month to another month, you are financially illiterate. Like, literally anyone who like still owes money on a credit card after 30 days, you're not allowed to comment on economics, okay? Because that is bad, and you don't know what you're talking about.
I think we're all
agreeing
there.
Carry those
We're
debts
all agreeing.
Yeah.
Pay them off. That doesn't mean they're illiterate. That means they're not making enough money to pay them off.
They're living outside.
Well, no, it means they spent more.
They are living outside their means. That's fair
They're
to
doing
say.
something stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah, they want something now that they can't afford, and so they're like, "Oh, I'll pay 20% interest on that, like, because YOLO." Like, no,
And
that's
what's
not.
the benefit of doing that
that's
in
bad.
time, right? What's the benefit of making
At
that?
20% interest, nothing is beneficial. Like,
Right,
I don't know.
it's
At 20% interest,
It's the credit score, right? The score is the goal. In that move, getting your score to go higher is the goal, so you can use your score as equity. But it's not.
You that's only if you pay it off before the end of the month,
works.
right? Like,
That's why we look at
because
hard equity.
but
Like,
people.
portfolio.
well,
are
I mean,
not
you could also just
disciplined
own
enough-
stock.
People are not disciplined enough to like really chime into that, and that's why the average American carries, what is it, like $17,000 in credit card debt?
More than that now.
I think it's like 22,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, even worse.
Yeah.
But that's why, because we're
That's
not
not 100
we're
grand
not
a year.
supposed to be using those. It's a stupid idea. I feel like we should shut the shit down. Like back, before people had, credit cards to tap into and just swipe. If you needed money for something, you actually would have to go to the bank and sit with the banker and discuss a loan and take out a loan for something that you needed to buy sooner than later. And I feel like that, because that process, right? That's a very long process, and you have to ask permission, and you have to sit down, and you have to work through it. It could take weeks, right? So the whole impulse buys aren't a thing, because you can't just swipe. Now we just, I don't know if I can afford this, but whatever. I just swipe.
Companies are sending college students credit applications. They're being predatory.
Yep. BBB comes in with a big 5 saying, "Good job, Sarah." Thank you, BBB. I think you are my new biggest fan. And also following up to say, if you make one extra payment a year, you can pay off a 30-year mortgage in 15.7 years. It is well, that depends on how much your mortgage is for also. I would want whatever amortization schedule you're looking at. But yeah, you can knock off like 7 years with just one extra payment a month. It's all about the type of loan and amortization scale to interest. Huh?
A 30-year fixed. You can
but it depends on the amount too. But
7 years if you pay an extra payment every year.
Oh, yeah. If you do the biweeklies. I think if you do the biweeklies, it actually adds in like that one extra big payment, and that like
because that all goes towards principal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which also reduces your interest liability.
Mm-hmm.
And
It also
the banks
reduces the
giving out
interest in
loans.
the following years.
When we have a monopoly on the banks, right? We have these big nationwide banks that are too big to fail, right? We don't have small banks giving out loans. We don't have any incentive for them to give out.
Just say fuck you, pay me. Just say fuck you, pay me.
We do have small banks giving out loans, but you're all too lazy to get up off your ass and go find those small banks and sit down and ask them for a loan and fill out their application. No, it's so much easier to sign up with Visa, Bank of America, Chase, whatever, MasterCard, blah, blah, blah.
You're better off joining a credit union.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, everything comes down to this insta gratification, insta click, insta buy, insta now, insta I fucking want it. And we just have to go out and get it because we fucking want it right now. And we're not willing to wait to save up or wait to see if we really want it or if it's just a sense of feeling or whatever that we can eventually get over. It's fucking ridiculous. It's stupid. And I'm very disappointed in the average citizen for the fact that we're like in this realm of things. It's
right
disgusting.
now, I really want a big bacon cheeseburger. I'm going to bid you all adieu. Thanks for having me, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Later,
Bye,
Fatty.
Fatty.
It was awesome talking to you tonight.
Stay safe,
you guys
Fatty.
soon, I'm sure. Be well.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Yeah, what I'm espousing is that people try and save up for things, throw money into savings, and so that they have their rainy day fund, they're capable of handling emergencies if they happen, not taking on credit and credit debt. The credit debt system is designed to keep you in a perpetual loop. That is what it is there for, so that they can continue to gain money off of it. The whole idea and understanding of having a credit score or maintaining a credit score is propagation of you getting into the credit system and maintaining credit.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say that all credit is bad.
That's ontologically evil. Actually, you're just wrong.
No, not
Yeah,
all.
that's not what I said. That's still not what I said.
I'm sorry, Daniel. You were saying something.
Not all credit is bad. Sometimes you do need a little help, and if your bank is willing to back you, and you're responsible enough to pay it back.
You're talking about a loan.
Yeah.
Right. And that's fine. Getting a loan, I would say, from a bank for something that you need to do isn't necessarily a bad type of debt. But what I'm speaking to is credit and the credit organization of credit cards. I'm not speaking to going and getting loans.
Credit cards are predatory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that.
That's what I'm actually speaking to. And yes, okay, if you want to be technical about it, all those asshats in chat that keep saying it, yes, a loan is a form of credit. But no, like a loan is a debt that you take out with a specific lender. Not
we can even say this slightly differently.
Credit.
Usually with a specific
a
purpose
credit
in
card.
mind, too.
If you don't understand that a credit card is a bridge, then it's predatory. If you understand that it's a bridge, then who knows? Get your fucking $25,000 credit limit and then go fuck up your life with it.
All right, Duck. Tell me how a credit card is a bridge.
It's not.
I mean, if I make $400,000 a year or something, like let's just say I'm a VP in a tech business or something, I might be, for whatever reason, that sounds like an insane amount of money, but after all my bills, some months I run out of money, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, if I just, because my bank account is a $400,000 a year bank account, I might have investments someplace, and because of this, I run out of money sometimes. Maybe I do need a $50,000 credit limit. Maybe I even use it every couple years, but I'm also a type of person, or my bank, like, you know, like that might be more of a speed bump than something existential. Whereas, like, you know, I used to talk to people when I worked in finance who had $40,000 in credit card debt, making $45,000 a year, or 17,000 in credit card debt. They had $3,000 in payments each month, and they you know, maybe made $3,200 a month, or, you know, whatever it is.
So
That's
they
not a
don't have
bridge.
any. There's no liquid. You're saying the
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
that makes $400,000 a year just has no liquid, right?
That guy
And
has no liquid.
I feel like that is a bigger issue because cash is king. It's always king.
Yeah.
You know, and if your assets are tied up too tightly in portfolios or in different investments of all sorts, then and you don't have any liquid, like that is a big liability, because if everything crashes, then you don't have liquid as a backup, like you're kind of fucked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if everything crashes, then everything has crashed, and I don't think most of that stuff matters at this point anymore.
That's
like,
not what she's talking about. She's talking about in a person's life if their finances fall apart. All right, you're being fucking ridiculous.
oh wait,
You're
we
talking.
we should diversify
Look,
our
and the other
investments.
thing, all right, to speak to loans being credit, the difference between a loan and credit is this little fucking thing that you get that has nothing to back it. Loans, you literally have to put your car, your house, or something else down as something that you are saying, yes, I'm backing the loan, saying I'm going to pay it, and if I don't, you can take my shit.
Yeah, you have the collateral for that loan.
Yeah. So it's not credit. Credit is
credit is an uncollateralized loan. Is that what you're saying?
It literally is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You
Gotcha.
understand, it literally is.
Yeah, I mean, like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, so there's two types of loans. There's collateralized loans, which are which we call loans, and there's uncollateralized loans, which we call
credit.
Not a loan.
Yeah, it's not a loan or credit. Because
well, it's definitely not a type of loan. It's definitely not an uncollateralized loan.
Yeah, no, credit is an uncollateralized loan. It is.
No,
as soon as you go and swipe your card,
yeah, it is.
Not,
yeah. So an uncollateralized loan is not a loan.
No, it's not a loan. It is.
Yeah.
Credit.
It's credit.
It's credit.
Yeah. An uncollateralized loan is not a loan.
It's promissory. It's a promissory.
Right.
Credit is a promissory.
Okay.
A loan is a credit is a promissory, whereas a loan is I'm gonna put, like, this is my equity in this item, and I willing to utilize it as collateral. But like, credit is just your signature on a piece of paper promising that I'll pay this back with this amount of interest rate.
So both of those things are you're borrowing money, like against something, whether it's your name or a piece of like physical like stuff. Then you're borrowing money.
No,
there's no collateral. It's for credit.
Well, I mean, there is collateral. They can sue you, right?
No, there's no apparent collateral. All right. That's what makes it predatory. There is no apparent collateral. The fact is, on a $5,000 credit card, yeah, they could come and take your fucking house if you don't pay it off. Yeah, they can. Like, it's happened in some states. Not all states have the protecting the homeowners' rights laws. So they can come and take your fucking house and sell it for $200 or $400 or whatever it's worth, and not give you a dime of that shit. Some states allow that.
Yeah.
Wait, are you advocating for federal policies for regulating these sorts of issues?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
what
okay.
I'm advocating.
Okay, sorry,
I credit to cease to exist. Loans are one thing. All right, you have a collateral. You understand the weight of what it is that you're taking on with the debt, because you have to put your house up. You understand it. It's an understandable thing right there from the start. Credit is not. It is predatory, because they can take your house in a lot of states in America, but they don't tell you that when you start buying Snickers at the fucking corner store or paying for shit you don't.
Your house is going to take you. I was born in the darkness.
More drug prattle?
I don't even know. Duck's on one tonight.
Shit.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
I don't agree.
Was that not a good bane? I was
Go ahead,
born
Vibe.
in the darkness.
Go ahead,
in
Vibe.
that there is no collateral on it. The collateral on credit, if you have bad credit, is the 25% that you're getting. And basically everybody else that's falling for this gig is actually backing up your own credit, right? So the collateral is that you're high risk because you don't pay your bills already. You have to get a credit card. You have to get a credit card at 25%, and that's ridiculous. Now, if you have good credit, which means you actually pay your bills and you've actually shown that you have the collateral to always pay your bills back, then you can get a credit card for 7%, 6%, right? It's basically, and you are right, it's predatory in the sense that, hey, here's a bunch of people that want to live a lifestyle that's way above what they can do, or here's a 20-year-old that doesn't even know how credit works.
That's not how it's predatory.
No matter what, there's still collateral behind the whole thing because of the percentage you're paying. And some people say that's unfair. Like, hey, if I can't pay my bills, why do I
He means by an upfront collateral. I'm willing to put something up for purposes of taking on a loan. That is collateral.
It's not actually like with a credit card. It's not actually even collateral.
It's consequential.
Right? It is consequential, but it's something they take from you because you didn't pay them. It's not even collateral because collateral is something you're putting up to get money to pay back later. All right.
All right.
But
credit.
I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna head out. It's nice to see everybody. Thank you for having me, Sarah. Y'all have a good one.
Hi, EOD, redhead.
I'm not a redhead. Shut up.
Have a good one, EOD.
Bye.
Even redder today.
It is not. I watched it. Come on.
It looks even more red. You fucking carrot top. Get the fuck out.
All right. I'll see y'all later.
The frickin' Viking.
Either way, the point behind the whole magical concept is that we should just ban credit cards. I think they're horrible. They're not a tool. I think, and if anybody says, "Oh, well, what if I have an emergency or this or that?" Okay, you need a new $8,000 roof. Guess what? There's your credit union, your local small town banker, whatever. You go to them, you sit down, and you ask for a loan for that, and then you
here's
do it that way.
Sarah. Here's the problem with that. Most banks now will not give you a loan unless you have a good credit score.
I haven't had an issue yet.
If you have a house,
I haven't had an issue yet.
I just said if you need a new roof tomorrow, obviously you have a fucking house. Obviously you have equity built in. You can take out a loan against that on the equity of the house, and it's $8,000. You should be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and from what Daniel's saying too, and also like I don't believe in holding debt, right? Part of our Christian faith is we don't hold debt. We pay everything off. However, there is a game, and it's called the credit score. And the credit score is
no one gives a
right. I hold 3 credit cards, and I keep them all at 30%, only to maintain a credit score for if I need to do an investment that I can actually take money to invest and profit off of that. Right.
So, Vibe, where does your homosexuality fit into that? Where does your homosexuality fit into that?
Well, I understand what you're saying, Vibe. I do. What I'm saying is this, okay? You're talking about an is, and we're espousing a should, right? That's the difference.
I'd love to get rid of credit. Like it's
yeah.
I mean, it is good in the sense that it actually gives credibility, right? So if I'm always paying my bills, and matter of fact,
it doesn't really get credibility.
Credit card companies, if they lend me $900 and I only pay $25 every month, and I never pay off the $900. I am creditable. I am creditable for always doing that, and I'm profitable.
That's not true.
I'm profitable.
No,
that's not true.
Right?
That's not true. That's not about wealth. That's not about wealth. That's not about money. That's about bullshit.
Yeah, that's about a bullshit score. And if the credit system didn't exist at all, most banks would give you a loan based off of what you own, not some arbitrary fucking score based off of how much you've supported a system that is actually a virtual system that doesn't even fucking exist.
100%, but it does fucking exist, right? It does. It is there.
So wait, who are you gonna pay? Who are you gonna pay to like
is there
assess all your assets, cleaner?
You guys
Cleaner, who's gonna assess all your assets all the time?
What
So
you
you
guys
can
aren't
do the loans.
understanding is this is literally what the credit card system is. A guy goes, "Hi, I want to start a credit card company." They say, "Okay, how much money do you have?" He says 0. They say, "Okay, that's cool. It's going to be a credit company, so you don't have to have any fucking money because it's a credit company. So you'll be giving people credit. They'll be paying you. You'll be making money off of their virtual fucking loans. It's not
Yeah,
loans."
this is fucking
Right?
eat shit dogma
Wait, Cleaner,
bullshit.
do you
They're
think that
not-
you
This isn't
can
about
they don't
making
just
money
like
at all.
damn thing to do that.
determine what
to start
people's
it.
assets
And then
are?
they start
Like just
getting into
for
the
Anyone
cycle.
can do that.
Yeah,
Fucking
they're
bullshit.
getting into
Anyone can
the
do that
cycle
shit.
of trying to build this score with other people,
Fuck all that.
continuing this whole. It's all fucking virtual. None of it is real. There's no collateral for anything. There's
Is there
no
any transaction cost to
actualization
determining how
of
many
what it is
assets people
we're
have?
doing.
Fucking
what?
0.
Is there a transaction cost to determining how much assets people have?
Yeah, if you hire somebody to determine how much assets someone has, then yeah, you're going to pay someone for it.
So,
If
so
you do it
is
yourself,
using
then no,
credit
there's
as a
not
supplement for
transaction cost
determining how many
depending on how
assets
much you
people have? Does
It
that
depends
lower
on
the
what
transaction cost?
are you talking about?
So, okay, if you got rid of credit, you would need to have people paid to verify the assets that people have. That's what you would have to do.
They already fucking do that.
They do both, but a lot of it is replaced by just a credit score.
Thanks. No, you don't understand. There is a difference between a credit score and your equity. All right, your equity is
I know.
something that your equity is something that people can see that's actualized. If you have a house, you have something to take a loan out on. If you have a car, you have something to take a loan out on. You have something that you can put up as collateral for a loan.
Yeah. Right, but there's also
what
other
the hell are you
thing on
talking
top
about?
of that you have. You don't we don't.
Yeah, banks
you
don't give a
wanted
shit
to-
about giving you a loan on a fucking little squirrel fucking squunchy toy or some shit.
Exactly.
Right? They
Right?
care about giving you a loan on
but
something
the scrunchy toy that you have is an asset. Technically, it's an asset, right?
Yeah, it's not.
So but the thing is, if you aggregate all the assets that people have and not just the big ones, and you turn that into a score,
No,
then you
no
then
bank
it's
will give you a
easier.
loan based off of how many fucking chia pets
Yeah, they
you
don't
have,
because they use the credit score. That's what it is.
No, it's not. It's because they care about the things that they can actualize into real money.
Can I go on eBay and sell my little scrunchy toy?
Oh my god, dude, you are such.
Can I do that?
Oh my god, you're so.
Yeah, if you go on eBay, though,
It's giving me a
you're not okay. If you talk about
Engage
eBay,
with what a
you're
credit
not
score
talking
is, because
about
this is
all
what
of
a
the
credit
actual
score is.
costs.
It's the idea that I can go and sell my assets and use that to pay off debt, and someone doesn't have to sit there.
If you didn't have all of those stupid squishy toys, you wouldn't have fucking debt.
I could sell my computer. I could sell something actually valuable. I'm
And
just
you're
using
not
it as an
going to
example.
get, but you're not getting the same value back as when you purchased that item at a stupid interest rate.
Yeah,
right?
that's fine. Well,
that's
I'm
what
not.
you-
Wait, hang on. I'm
still-
not
it's still a
saying that
net
it's
loss.
the same value.
but
It's
like-
a depreciating asset for sure.
What if I want to take out? What if I want to take out like a business loan? Like I need money to like make an idea become real. Like what do I offer up as collateral for that?
You have to build your own capital into it.
Yep.
Okay, so I have
And
to.
if you
I have
don't
to
if you don't
create-
have your your
Yeah, you'd have to
capital
find a
built
great
in,
rate. You'd have to find a
Unless-
good rate somewhere.
If you don't have your capital built in, then you do have to have collateral, which means you would be taking a second mortgage rate out on your home, or I'm sorry, a second mortgage loan out on your home or something to that degree. Like you have to have something to give up if you have not built the capital on your own. Meaning, if I don't come to the bank and say, okay, look, I've got, I saved up $50,000. I'm looking for a loan for an extra 150 in order to, kick off this new restaurant I want to build. If you have nothing in savings, that they're going to be like, well, what the fuck are you doing for this?
Sarah, I mean, this is 100% correct too, and this is kind of why I was going against cleaner. Although I think credit is bullshit, and I don't think we really should have that whole credit card system. It's there, whether you like it or not. It's there, and I played the game, and I played it smart, right? And I kept I didn't take out any
That
more
depends
money
on what you call smart.
And
You're
I started
paying into
my-
a
I
system
started my
I'm not
own
having to
business.
pay into, and I have plenty of fucking money.
But yeah, so
Like
and
I
had
could go
double
buy
money.
another house if I want
needed
right now.
double the amount of money to start my business. I needed the seed money to start it, and
Yeah.
I mean, I had
And
good
if the credit
investments,
system
good
wasn't
money,
there, what banks used to
doubled
do
it.
was say, okay, what's your idea? Does it sound like it's a money making idea? They would weigh the risk assessment and then they would decide whether or not they were going to invest in your business. That's what they
Well,
used
and
to
part
do
of that,
before
So
credit.
and when they looked
the
at
risk
that
assessment is
was
also like
how,
part of the credit score is
how
also part of the
reliable
risk
I
assessment.
was
It would
on
just be
credit
hidden.
Credit
they
score
thought.
isn't a part of the risk assessment.
So I
Well,
had,
wouldn't the bank want to know your lending history and your credit mix,
yeah,
or
I
like
mean,
just like
exactly.
the
So
other
like,
loans that you
and I
have?
got the money and I
Oh,
invested the
I've seen
money.
plenty of
And
people with 700 credit
exactly,
scores get turned down for business loans, for small business loans. Okay, it doesn't actually, like, your credit score has a very minor amount to do with whether or not you're going to get a loan for a small business. All right, what they normally look at
Based on what?
is
What are you basing
whether or
that off
not
of?
they think the
Well,
risk is
I-
worth the
it's-
reward that they could
well,
get
that's
back.
not true
Whether
because
or not they think
I
that your
wasn't a
business
small
can
business
actually
yet, right? I
succeed.
was investing in the small business, my own small business. At that time, there was no business, right? I needed the seed money to grow, and because of the
Convertible
smart,
notes.
never abused the credit system, right? I never overspent on the credit cards. I never did any of this stuff. I just made sure I played the fucking game. And because I played the game, when I actually did need that investment, I was able to put it into the business and then double the returns. I don't like the game. I don't like the credit system. I don't think it's I don't think it's a good judgment. I think they are predatory. And I mean, I think there are two scenarios here too, right? We're talking about us adults. So we have some adults here on online and we know how to actually do the game. But then we also have another scenario, our fucking kids. They have
Well,
no
that's
idea
what
what
we're
this game
speaking
is.
to
They're playing
also.
with blocks and
Before Darko derailed it to adults who have hundreds of thousands of dollars to fuck off with, we were talking about the 20-year-olds that are getting into the system that are getting fucked over by it.
Yeah, you're right. We were very specifically talking about that. Like, that's definitely not, a straw man of what I was saying.
You've got the kids that don't understand how credit works. They don't even understand how money works anymore, right? They're ordering on our credit cards on Amazon. There is no concept of going down to the corner store and counting out pennies anymore.
That's highly subjective. That's too subjective for me, bro. No offense. That's really subjective. I don't know where the truth of whatever you're saying is. Like we talked about credit cards and high interest rates, but we also talked about political. We also talked about the macro climate and the impact on the credit market.
No, are we talking about the youth or are we talking about the adults?
We're talking about the youths.
Who do you want to talk about?
So let's focus on the youth because that really is where the problem is, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean where the problem is? Are we staying on the same topic or are we not staying on the same topic?
So maybe our schools.
What are we talking about?
Teaching young kids how to be responsible and frugal, and instead of teaching them about woke ideology. Maybe we should get
not being. How about not being fucking condescending instead of tolerating MAGA's woke bullshit for the last fucking 48 months.
You know what? This is the fucking problem. You're all a bunch of whiny.
Yeah, you guys are a bunch of fucking pussies.
And let's just focus on credit.
Bunch
and
of
kids.
fucking pussies.
Sarah, don't group me in there.
Stop for a second. BBB in with the big five. A bank is for a profit business. Thank you. I want to address Duck. I don't know what your issue has been. Hold on just a second, please. Duck, I don't know what's been going on with you, but you've been overly hostile on panels and in the discords lately, and I quite frankly don't appreciate it. I think you need to slow your roll and shut your mouth and learn to chill the fuck out sometimes. All right. I get it. You're going through something or something to that effect, but it's not everybody else's problem. It is only yours. And whatever you're going through, stop taking it out on us. Is that understood?
Yeah, I understand that.
Thank you. You will be more respectful going forward on these panels. I do not appreciate the random calling people pussies and bitches and all of those things. That is my role and my role only. I don't appreciate. Excuse me?
I said I thought you did.
I don't appreciate it randomly coming out in odd spurts of nothingness. You have provided nothing to this panel this evening except for calling people pussy every now and then going off on random soul-searching thought processes that are completely off base. So please, whatever you're going through, whatever's going on, calm the fuck down and chill yourself out. Thank you. All right.
I will look
Ladies
at my
and
feet. I
gentlemen, I'm
apologize.
going to give you all about 10 more minutes and then I'm going to bed. It is after 3 a.m. And by 4 a.m. I turn into the raging tomato, and you don't want to see that. So,
And by the way, Sarah,
Whoa.
my kids asked why you're the raging tomato, and they asked if you eat a lot of tomatoes. I saw you eating tomatoes, so I will let them know tomorrow that yes, she is the raging tomato because she loves to eat tomatoes.
I'll roll with that. I'll roll with that. I was called the tomato originally because I turn red all the time. I'm just a white girl that turns red on screen all the time, no matter what. And the raging was added in. I was named by the Hormaxer. He named me because he was mad at me. He was upset that I didn't like him and didn't want to participate in a sex club with him because that was the first question he asked me upon interacting with me on a panel. And so he got mad and upset, and he said, "You know what? You're angry. You're fucking you look like a tomato. You're the fucking raging tomato." And I'm like, I kind of like that.
You're like, I'm taking it.
You when you're angry.
Man, I don't know if you did you just like not have a handle before that, or like did you have something before that?
I was just Sarah Bobera. That was it. I didn't have a show. Like I didn't have a show or anything like that. I was just a panelist. I started on the speed dating with Playing with Fire, and then Ashley had done her channel and so on and so forth. And but like I think it was within the first 3 months of me being a panelist that name was given to me. And I really thought about it for maybe like a good week or two. And I was like, man, I really kind of like that Raging Tomato. And then it was kind of like a shit or get off the pot kind of moment, because to me, I was like, I'm establishing my name as a panelist and who I am. Like now, if you're going to change it, now's the time to do it before people get used to you. And so, yeah. And now here I am yelling at people all the time.
So now that we're done with the yelling, like, I mean, what is the solve for kids and credit cards? These 18-year-olds. I mean, I have a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 20-year-old that's about to turn 21, right? And that guy is dumb as fuck, right? I'm trying to teach him how to understand money, car insurance, all this stuff. And it's tough. And then I've got my kids right now. They play Roblox, right? And they're always asking me for Robux.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why am I going to spend $20 for $20 that doesn't exist, right?
Right.
And yeah, because that's inflationary, right? It makes the Robux stuff cost more.
You give them something to earn. Give them
if you're just dumping like a shit ton of Robux into the economy, then like that's just gonna make all the stuff cost more at the end, right?
Yeah,
for sure. We should end tariffs on Robux.
So I'm also a dad. I think to me what's most important is everyone has a different entry point to becoming an economic participant. And so understanding finance and what money is, those are both complex questions. And I think if you ask the best CEOs in the world, they'd tell you that can be a lifetime journey. No one would ever imagine they are where they end up. And so if you don't start foundationally, if you chop it off at the knees, so to speak, it doesn't matter, because why wouldn't you get a financial, you can just, there's lots of knowledge you can prioritize, but, having that sort of Gnostic understanding of how money works, that's one of the most important things, because the world is full of money. You just have to know where to find it. But like, again, that access point to becoming an economic participant is the most important part.
I think the baseline would be the best way to start people. Like the age group you're talking about, Vibe, you said you've got a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old?
And a 20-year-old.
And a 20-year-old. Okay. The 6 and 7-year-old, you have the best chance of being able to teach them right now.
Yes.
Just letting them understand that, like, what they're doing, if they want to spend some money, they have to do something to earn that money. And in turn, what they're doing is they're spending a part of their life to earn that money to buy the thing that they want. And when you equate it like that, it makes a little more sense to people. They're spending their time to earn that money rather than doing something else they may want to be doing that they don't have to earn that money for, right?
Yeah,
Whatever.
and I appreciate that advice directly for my children, right? And I am trying to install that. But the bigger question is, we've got a societal issue right now with everybody else's kids, right?
Right.
And so really, like, I mean, Cleaner, I totally appreciate you, like, avoiding credit, because I mean, like I said before, I'm a Christian. We are not supposed to have debt, right? However, I do play the game because the game is there, and and only because I can afford it. So I always maintain my credit to maintain the credit when I need my credit, right? But the children don't understand that. So as a society, like, how can we look at this whole issue and train our kids, especially with digital currencies and Robux and all this craziness? Like, I feel like there needs to be something bigger in this whole story that we have happening in the United States right now on how our children are educated when it comes down to economics, right? Because they don't ever even use a penny anymore. They don't go down to the corner store and buy a candy bar anymore.
So I don't feel there's a problem, and this is maybe because I'm a political science major. My wife works at a university, and so I think. My understanding of, like, if you want to understand money, you can't understand money in a household. You have to understand the global context of cash versus credit.
And he doesn't need to understand the global context. Like, I mean, money is
talking about.
I have it or I don't. I mean, we don't have to make it that complicated.
So, Sarah, I can't say something back to this guy.
I'm sorry. I'll let you go on.
No, I don't need to go on. I said my thing. You didn't understand it, so you were insulting. Is this what we're doing? It's time to go. Why don't you make your point then? Make your point if you understood me. Or just admit you didn't understand it.
I didn't hear him insult you. I heard him express a difference of opinion.
Okay, that's the truth of it then. Go with that.
We don't need to educate our kids on global economics, right? You don't need to educate a 10-year-old on global economics. We need to teach. And personally, I think in high school, everybody should be taught how to manage credit, how loans work. And I don't know why they don't teach this stuff in high school. They teach us about government, they teach us about everything else, but they don't teach us how to frickin' manage a checkbook. I mean, I know we don't have checkbooks anymore. It's now credit. Right?
Right.
So, Duck, I apologize if I insulted you, but I was just trying to get, like, I mean, are we going to teach a 10-year-old global economics?
No, I think you're being condescending towards the capital system. It's really funny to me that I can spend $1 at Walgreens, and if there was a way to track it through, like, a blockchain or something, if there was an actual ledger, that same dollar could realistically be in 15 different countries, or 43 in less than 12 months.
I don't see what that has to do with getting kids to understand how finances work. And the thing is, like what you're talking about, Duck, when you were talking before, and the reason that I think that none of us are speaking to it is because a good 85 to 90% of the American population can't even understand global economics. So that's not even something they need to understand in order to live life, to be able to spend correctly, to invest correctly, any of that, if they choose to invest or try to, these things, like all these other concepts that are extensive as far as money, don't affect most people. All right, they do affect like the 15% that can understand it, or the 1% that are ultra rich that engage in it on an hourly or daily basis.
No, I agree. I maybe overstepped. I maybe spoke too strongly. I agree with you completely. That's my bad.
We're just trying to get a baseline understanding into people's heads that have no understanding right now, and that's what we're trying to speak to. Is like when the kids are young, you can start teaching them by making them understand. Like I said with Vibe, letting these kids understand, okay, if you want something, then you have to earn it by earning money somehow, right? Well, and then in the higher tiers of that, when they're teenagers or when they're in their early 20s, if they have a job and they're out and they're working, what you do with them is you sit down and you show them an economic model of what's going to happen if they continue spending irresponsibly, like where they'll be in 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, or
Right.
at the end of their life, whatever,
It's
right?
about making one. It's about making one better choice than the next one, right? Not chasing
Yeah.
shiny things. Ask a question, you get a fucking answer.
Right. Yeah. 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 And that's the
And
basic understanding we want the kids to have, so that they stop overspending, right?
K2 keep on trucking in with a big 5. Hey Doc, do you got some kilos in that stash? With how much you play with your stash, I'm calling the cops. That's fair. I think overall, if you wanted to teach your kids how to not be that person that ends up with massive amounts of credit card debt, I think teaching them patience is probably a key factor. And instead of just letting them go out and buying what they want, instead you teach them to save up towards something that they really, really, really want, and making them do the work to hold, to get to that point. I think it's too often, and I'm just as guilty. I'm making this claim because I know I'm just as guilty as well. Kid's been good grades, all those things. And you're like, oh, like, why wouldn't I let them have this? But, at the end of the day, if they can just, point and swipe or walk in a store and swipe, then that's all they're ever going to do. And we need to be conscious of that. If they're not saving money, when they're, I mean, my daughter saved, like, when she was little, saved all of her birthday money, all of it, just kept saving and saving and saving and saving until one day she discovered Amazon, and suddenly things changed because it was just point and click. There's no concept behind I'm spending money, right? There's no concept behind it because we don't see it. That's why it's easier for them to get us on the web version of buying things. It's easier to get us on just point and click. Even Amazon offers buy with one click because you don't have to go through the whole process, because they know once you get to that shopping cart and realize, oh, once I add in shipping and once I add in this and once I add all these things together, suddenly it's a bigger cost, right?
Yep.
And then you have a moment of opportunity where you can be like, do I really need this? No, if I can just buy with one click, it's all impulse based. So teaching your children to get out of the impulse and out of the concept of like need and want now, that will, I think, help deter that bad behavior later on. And maybe as they get older, then you are teaching them the principles of economics and how interest rates work, and principles and all of that stuff. So anyways,
I mean, it is interesting in the whole thing, right? Like, I mean, to bring it all the way back to the beginning of this whole debate, landlord versus overlord, right? I think everybody can be a landlord, and it's the sacrifice that you make. And I mean, Mike was the original speaker on that. He said he had to like work overtime, had to do this stuff. My wife and I were renting a beautiful house on a lake in Orange County, and we decided we didn't want to rent anymore, and we had to downsize for 4 years to a tiny condo. We had to sacrifice. And we saved our money, and then we bought a house, right? And it's about installing that same behavior in your children, that they need to do that right when they're young, right? Like every kid, and Ivory was on earlier talking about New York and culture. All young kids want to go somewhere exciting and fun. Like they're not thinking about the future.
Ivory's 25 years old.
Now
he's not that young.
That's pretty young.
I thought he was 25.
Yeah.
For if you don't, I'll put it this way: if you're not already married and have kids by 25, you are still considered young. You're still in a very amateur. Your whole mindset is very just here now, low consequences, high risk.
Less maturity.
Yeah.
So 21-year-old with 3 kids would be young.
So totally no. They wouldn't.
I mean, that
wouldn't
would be a lot of
consider
life
very old.
experience
young.
for sure. That'd be a
There's
lot
a
of
lot
life
of
experience
yeah.
bleeding into the analysis.
What is that?
I would even say
Year
I
old.
I had my daughter. I got pregnant with my daughter when I was 21, and my whole life after that, everything, every dynamic, every perspective, every reality, every goal, every motivation, everything I did from that point on was completely different than had I just been 21 and doing my own thing.
Because
The
you
So
amazing how
grow up and
kids can
be
change your life.
responsible.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And Duck did
Yeah.
say it correctly. He said it has to do with life experience, and it does. Your whole life experience will change when you have a major responsibility like having kids and a family. Like your values should be shifting to, all right, I need to provide for my family. I need to make sure my kids have a home, and so it does. It forces you to mature. And I
You
think it's
can't.
not so much an age differential as it is a maturity differential. But in the younger generation right now, we see a lot more of the less mature.
Yes. And that's
Because
why I
they were
say I would consider Ivory to be very young in experience in life. And I don't say that as an insult. I mean it very realistically
Right.
speaking. Even he had the same wide-eyed viewpoint, like Bambi, deer in the headlights kind of viewpoint of New York. Like, well, everybody just wants to move there for culture. It's like, bitch, no, they don't.
Wait, did Bambi die from a car?
Questions, right?
Did I miss that part of the movie?
And that's
Dude.
awesome. So I give him 100% credit.
It's neat
I would
to,
I would love to be starry-eyed looking at a place and being like, "Oh, that just
yeah.
be so nice." And
I was just getting
yeah.
ready to say, it's awesome to be able to live in that ideology type mindset before you have kids and a family and responsibilities, and it's awesome to live there because the world is your fucking oyster. You see so much good out there that can be accomplished and done and had, but then when you have kids, you have a family, you have people depending on you. You come back down to where reality is at. You see the world for what it is, what you can and can't do. Things start equating differently, risk assessments, all of it. Everything just starts.
That's a good point. I agree. That's a good point.
You smoke inside of the house. I don't trust anything that you say, honestly. I'm sorry. That sounded like a personal attack, and I don't mean that like personally, like whatever. I don't mean any.
How do you know?
I don't mean any personal judgment on that.
How do you know where I'm smoking?
Well, there's curtains behind you and a
Oh yeah, maybe you're green
lampshade.
screened outside in your fucking shed. Sure.
No, I have curtains on the window for my garage. You don't like it, but they've got them.
That's what your garage looks. That's what the wall and the ceiling of your garage. Like you have no overhead storage in your garage.
No, I have
easily accessible overhead storage in your garage.
Yeah, no. I have some. I have 2 storage racks on the other wall over there. But no,
but you're not utilizing the ceiling to store stuff, right? That's my fucking question, bro. Come on.
Yeah, some things. Yeah. But no, I sealed up my garage so that I could air condition it because I fucking wanted to.
That's fair. All right, gentlemen. It is now 3:30 in the morning for me, and I still have to get up and work. So let's go ahead. This was actually a really interesting conversation. I love where it started, and I even love more so where it ended because I feel like we came full circle. In order to be a landlord, you kind of have to, actually make sacrifices and get to a point where you can afford to become one. And at what point is, taking out credit and loans and doing those things, at what point does it make sense and at what point does it not? So let's go ahead and kick off with our final thoughts. Duck, why don't you go ahead and kick off for us?
So really grateful for the chance to join the panel. Apologies for the outbursts. If I had to say anything, I think there's plenty of guys like Mike who are good intentioned, honest, and legitimately create a good deal for renters. Since Coder's not here, I think from the liberal perspective, there's a lot of other factors. It's really difficult to say that the economics are fully compensated for in any renting business, especially newer renting businesses. And so, make the best choice for yourself, and learn about money, learn about what you can invest in, learn about if you're not saving anything, then peace, motherfuckers. That's it. Thank you. Duck out.
Thank you, Duck. Darko, to you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a very clear line of like the going market average and the interest rate of the loan. That makes it, makes the decision on whether it's financially responsible or not. We should teach people that 'cause we don't teach kids that at all. Like we don't even teach them. I mean, we act like we teach them how to balance checkbooks, but most of them can't do math. But yeah, I don't know. Financial literacy is good. Poor people are poor because they have bad financial literacy. You know, like or sorry, not necessarily just because of that, but that's what keeps them poor. Yeah, teach them more. And not just preach that all debt is always bad all the time, because sometimes debt is good. Thanks,
Thank
Sarah.
you, Darko.
You're the best.
Absolutely. Vibe to you.
Oh, thank you. Well, first, Sarah, thank you for having me on. I messaged you on X, and I know you said this is what we do for newbies. So thank you for having me on. I use Streamlabs. I had to figure out StreamYard to get on here first. But I think I'm starting to get the hang of this. This is my first debate ever. And I will say, not my subject, right? I am a landlord, and I was on this subject. Sound like everybody pretty much was like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with landlords. There are definitely some problems with some other things. I wish I would have jumped in earlier to talk about those things. Came in the end of the credit, but ultimately, when we're streaming like this, our job is to try to improve society, right? And inform people and have a great debate to educate on both sides. So I'm really happy to have been here. Thank you guys for letting me be the newbie and jump in on here. So I don't have much more from that.
Awesome. Thank you, Vibe.
No,
Daniel, to you.
Don't leave.
Sorry,
yet.
what's that?
Don't leave yet.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Go
Sorry.
ahead. To you, Daniel. Final thoughts.
Okay. Sarah, great space, like always. Can't wait for the you're doing the debate with Rachel and what's his name against
Marte.
Coder?
Yeah, Marte, Rachel Wilson, Radical Coder, and Soypill.
That'll
be
Vile.
That'll be Memorial Day.
Vile. Is it Vile?
Vibe.
Vibe. Yes.
Sorry. I would love to have a conversation with you as far as the young kids and learning about economics and being more fiscally responsible. Maybe Sarah could do a space on that, or maybe you and I can do that on X, whatever.
Yeah, I would love that. I mean,
Sarah?
I think it's really important. I think it's something that parents need to see. I do things with my kids that I think are very important. Once again, I said I'm Christian. We do reward them with doing chores and money, and we make them put that in the envelope, and then we make them tithe to know that, like, hey, you earned this money, but this money's not yours, right? I mean, like it's shared. So there is a responsibility there. And maybe we don't agree on that, but I would love to have that discussion. And I think it totally is worth putting on the internet.
Okay, Vibe. I would love to have that conversation with you. I don't know if you have X. You can follow me on X, and we can DM each other and get a conversation going. But thank you for coming up. Your first time, or you're a new to spaces. You did very well.
Well,
I was very interested in what you had to say, and you were very engaging. Good on you. And Sarah is always willing to bring new people on. I'm new also. Cleaner I love some of the things that you had to say. I had a little pushback. I wasn't able to do that. Well, we can we'll have conversations again. Appreciate your time. You guys have a great night. Sarah, love it. Keep it going.
Thank you, Daniel. Cleaner to you.
Anybody who's seen me anywhere else knows that I've said I have a trajectory, that I'm following a plan of action of what I'm doing in the social media space. I pick and choose where I go, who I choose to get onto a panel of, and the people who are hosting those panels. I pick my words very carefully. I talk about the things I talk about very carefully. If I'm here, it's because I support Sarah. You guys, any one of you that would support me, support her. She's doing a good thing here. That's all I have.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
Chatters, throw the last money in, right?
All right, it's your last chance to dance, partner. Thank you, everyone, for coming out, and shout out to Millennial Mike. He reached out to me randomly, and he's like, "Hey, here's what I have going on. Here's what I want to do. How can I do this?" And I said, "Well, I think a Throwdown Thursday will work for you." I was even skeptical about the topic because I was thinking to myself, is this a contentious enough topic that will actually, have a conversation? Or because I'm thinking everybody's just going to be agreeable. Like it's good. Rent is fine. Landlord's good, aside from slumlords and all of that. And I didn't think it would be a bigger conversation, but obviously it grew into something very large. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very glad I made that decision. And shout out to Millennial Mike, who is probably the best banter I've ever met. Funny guy, quite comical. And I look forward to having him back here again. To all of the panelists who joined this evening, thank you. This show cannot happen without you. If not, it'd just be me sitting here. Yeah, and get the fucking likes up, you assholes. But shout out to everyone who joins the panels, because I could just sit here and talk to you guys all day long, and that would be really boring because I would just be a total bitch about it, and then you'd all get tired of hearing me tell you exactly what you need to do and why you're wrong. Outside of that, this coming Monday, we have Soy Pill, Wick TV, Misfit Patriot, and Sean, I forget his last name. They will be debating on, what the hell are they debating on? I can't even remember my own lineup. It's getting too big. What are they debating on? Does anybody remember?
Sarah, you didn't write it down?
I got to go look at my channel. I got to go look at my own channel. They will be debating on, is Trump one of the greatest threats to free speech we've had in the last 20 years? All right. Also, right before that, this coming Sunday night, Mother's Day, it will be my Mother's Day gift to me. So it's the Mother's Day grift, ladies and gentlemen. We will have Andrew Wilson and Misfit Patriot again back for the woke right. The prompt is, there is no woke right. Andrew is arguing the affirmative on that, and Misfit Patriot has the opposition. And then next coming Throwdown Thursday, we have Soy Pill back again. I hope you guys don't get tired of him because I really like him. His claim is that Trump is weakening America. Super excited for that. And then, of course, we have more shows following as well. So be sure to go hit the notification bells, do all of those fancy little things. And if you're not already in the Discord, join the Discord, because I kindly remind all of you guys that it's a Monday or Thursday night and you've got somewhere to be. So if you need a constant reminder, I'm there to do it. But you can also hang out with the Discord fellows as well and argue things during the day because you have a need for drama. All right. I love you all. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm sending the raid to Flow State. So if you're... Yep.
Daniel, can you post? I am on X. Can you post in the chat your handle so that we can connect?
At real Daniel McCoy.
Let me write that down right now.
The real Daniel McCoy. All right.
Sorry,
fuck off,
Sarah.
everyone.
I don't know. I just feel like we all have really great aim until the second we put on these helmets. Like, you guys know I was actually on my way to the Death Star that morning.
No, get out of here.
No. Yeah. Forgot to set my alarm, got caught in space traffic. If it hadn't been for that space traffic.
Well, you can't think about that. You can't think about that or you're going to drive yourself crazy.
I'd be dead. I guess I'd be dead.
Yeah, it's just so eerie.
Yo, it's the stormtroopers, we be rising up, bringing our rep on the Death Star.
Then we will be revamping our Stormtrooper Benefits Program.
Don't rebuild. The Jedi's win.
Jedis. I'll tell you something. They hate our way of life.
You get 20/20 vision. You get 20/20 vision. Everybody gets 20/20 vision.
I'm out. Listen, we have all of this technology, right? We can't find Luke Skywalker. One guy, hiding out in a cave somewhere in Dagobah.
We be chugging beers in the cans. Occupied. We set the bar. Watch your back. We ain't some rookies.
Darth Vader happens to be in a TIE fighter when the whole thing goes down, please.
Just learn, rookie.
My dead body.
Stormtroopers are ruining everything!
Yeah, all right.
Now look,
Here we go.
I read the engineering, okay? There was no way one X-Wing could have taken this thing out.
Okay.
No way.
We be chugging beers in the canteen, rowdy as can be. Call us the stormtroopers, we set the party free. Stepping out of line, you better watch your back. We ain't some rookies, we got the Empire on our track.
Your tweaking caused a great disturbance in the Force.